Holly right now strikes me as someone who tries to play victim. See, she's victim to this overdraft, so she wants the credit union to reverse it. She's victim to the ex-wife of the guy that she married, because that wife is smart enough clearly to say she can't afford private school. And now, when this relationship breaks up, because we all know it's going to, all right, she's going to be a victim to her husband. But there's one thing that Holly will never allow. She will never allow herself to take responsibility. I can see this already. We're going to take a look at a Dave Ramsey show that just ran yesterday. It's called Does This Not Feel Weird to You? All right, folks, let's go ahead and hit it. I'm going to hear it for the first time with you. Thanks for being here.
I apologize.
Whoops. Might help if I put at the beginning. Here we go.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
So I've gotten myself into a big hole. I apologize. Right now my account's negative $600. I have no money. In the past 60 days, I've paid over $1,300 in overdraft fees.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, family, we are starting right out. So we are minus $600. She sounds like she's ready to cry. How many of us have been there? I've been there. I'd be ready to cry too. All right. $600 in overdraft. $600 in the hole. Her account is. She's paid $1,300 in overdraft fees. She's almost $2,000 in debt. Might as well just call it $2,000. Not quite ready to pour tea yet. Wow.
I'm going to call my bank to cancel that overdraft because I realize that's ridiculous.
What does she mean? She's going to call? She has $1,300 in overdrafts. Oh, she's hoping the bank will cancel her overdraft. No, they're not going to cancel her overdraft, especially if these are multiple overdrafts. Do you know how hard it is to get a bank to cancel one overdraft? Just like give me one overdraft cancel. This just ran yesterday, okay? So if she thinks that she's going to be able to call in and have all these overdrafts canceled, short of those overdrafts being caused by her, a break-in into her account. And even then, family, there are stories where banks will not reverse it even over that. If this is just because she's stressed out and she misspent the money, or anyone she gives access to the account misspent the money, she's not going to get that canceled.
And I just don't know where to start. I'm behind on my mortgage, and I just don't know what to do.
Oh, well, family, we may have to be polite. Well, we're always polite. We may have to be extra gentle, but it's too early to decide. Okay, and she's behind on mortgage. This is why I need Jamie here. Okay, behind on... Jamie usually writes during the day. Okay, or when she's not at work at night. Okay, behind on mortgage. Folks, we're going to do it. Let us spill that tea. Always so refreshing. All right, family, we're going to see how intense this gets. Now, the title of it is called Does This Not Feel Weird to You? If Mr. Ramsey is talking about the overdrafts, unfortunately for those of us who have a volatile financial history, no, the overdrafts don't feel weird. I've dealt with them. I've dealt with many of them in my younger years, okay? I will tell you, in the last 10 years, since I've been divorced, I've had one overdraft. It was with a credit union, and they reversed it. It was actually it was my fault. Look, here's the bottom line. Overdrafts are our fault. We can have 101 excuses as to why we have them, but basically, folks, like I said, if your checking account or whatever account wasn't broken into criminally, every overdraft is our fault, and it was my fault. I had actually just opened up a credit union, okay, with the teachers' credit union. All right, I just opened up a credit union account, and I had two accounts, and I made a charge on the wrong credit union account that I had just opened. So, in other words, I had an excuse because we all do, but they went ahead and said, it's all good. That is one overdraft. I think it was like a $34 fee. Yikes. They reversed it. Haven't had an overdraft since. And that's in a decade. So I'll forgive myself for that.
You by yourself?
I have a husband and we have 2 kids.
A husband and they have 2 kids. Folks, hold on. I'm going to turn on my fan. Everybody just hold. I'm really hot. I'm not quite as used to filming during the day because I got the window right here. And it's like Il fait chaud. I think that's French for like I'm hot or something like that. Okay, so she's married. They have 2 kids. All right.
Okay. Are you handling all the money by yourself, or is he just watching this happen, or what?
So we're trying to talk more about it. Originally, he was just giving me money to pay the bills. But he had his car broke. He had to get a new car. And
he had to get a new car. Now, we've heard that before. They had to get a new car. His car broke. We had to get a new one. Why not just fix the one you have? And if you had to get a new one, just how much is owed on that?
And so he has not been giving me money with his paycheck. Here and there he will, or buy the groceries. But it's pretty much been all on me.
Well, this feels weird to me already. We're married. We have 2 kids. His car broke. We quote had. It's always the word had. Even when I got my Toyota Corolla Hybrid, I didn't say I had to do it. I wanted to do it. It was a long-term goal to, eventually I need to get out of leasing, yada, yada. But it was never a had. I wonder, just out of curiosity, when they say we have 2 kids, I'm assuming they're both their kids.
Holly, are you working?
Yes.
So you guys have separate accounts?
Yes.
So he kind of earns money, does whatever he wants, comes
and you're
home,
paying, yeah.
and you pay all the bills.
Yes.
Well, this arrangement clearly is not working.
Does that not feel weird to you? It feels weird to me.
It feels very weird.
Yeah. Like wrong.
There's something more to this story, folks. There's something missing. I hope we find out what it is because I'm going to excavate it until we do. There's something more to this. I don't know what. It just seems odd. You're married. You have 2 kids. The way she's talking almost makes it seem that the husband is apathetic, or heck, maybe she's apathetic. Who knows? But I'm just giving you my first instinct vibes. Okay. The way she's talking, it's almost like the husband is not really involved in the marriage. That's kind of what I'm sensing. Well, he had to get a new car, not we had to get a new car, if I'm correct, okay? He had to get a new car. I'd really like to know why they didn't just fix the car they have, all right? Then he gives me money. When you feel like, who the bejesus is married to somebody, you got bills to pay, and then I'm just supposed to give you money when I feel like it and then strap you with the bills. There's something missing, and I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And have you guys talked about that? What does he say?
Well, he just says that he doesn't make as much and he's trying to pay. He pays for his car, his insurance, and then our kids do go to a private Catholic school. And I know I could just cut that out and I wouldn't have that monthly payment, but it is something that's really important to us.
I'm going to say this as a teacher. First off, it sounds as though he kind of is leading his own life. They sound like roommates. That's what I would say. They kind of sound like they sound like roommates. The thing that I'm also thinking of, as a public school teacher, look, private school can be very, very expensive. And there are times when we have to admit that we can't afford it. And then God help you, you're with a teacher like me. I'm being sarcastic there. Okay. Here's the thing. Private school, as far as I'm concerned, when you're making calls like this, you probably shouldn't have your kids in private school when you're this broke. Now, there are people who go, oh, but you know, the education of my children is everything. I said it in a video before and I'll say it again. Is there anything so wrong with them having a teacher like me? Dedicated, loyal, love my job, get along with my school, love my school, yada, yada. Okay. I think sometimes, and I don't want to get off on a rant about this, but I think at times that people forget that, you know, private school is a luxury. All right. It's a luxury. If I were a parent and I had all the money in the world, yeah, I'd probably put my kid in a private school. All right. Because there are some perks to it. But when you're a mom calling in tears, this is what I'm talking about. Okay. You're broke, BROKE. You clearly can't feed your kids. You're $2,000 in the hole. You think calling into the bank, all right, they're gonna release you on what was it? $1,300 in overdraft fees. Where are they releasing you on $1,300 in overdraft fees for if it's your fault? If I were the bank, I'd say no. No, that's not our fault. It's your fault. So her thing about private school, that's could be along the same lines, along why he had to have a new vehicle. Just a thought.
So he has that payment for his daughter.
His daughter, I thought she said they had 2 kids.
And because her mother refuses to pay for school.
Whoa. Everybody, okay, hold on. Everybody just halt. Remember I told you I didn't feel like something was right on this? Where is my evening team? Oh, that's right, because I'm doing this during the day. Remember when I said something just seems off? There is some disconnect between her and the husband, at least in the way she's describing it. This is now starting to come into play. The picture is starting to clear. Okay, so let me see if I've got this right. They may be married, but apparently this is the second or possibly more marriage. Okay, so he's got a daughter, and it looks like the daughter goes to private school because the mother refuses to pay for it. Yeah, the mother may refuse to pay for it. It's too expensive. Just because there's a parent that refuses to pay a bill doesn't make that parent irresponsible. Just because a parent says, I'm not going to pay for that ridiculous college education you want at that resort school, just because a parent says, I'm not going to pay for that private school because we all broke and we can't afford it, it doesn't make that parent irresponsible. In fact, sometimes that's the smartest parent in the room. And if you don't believe me, when months ago on this channel, I did a story about a mom who is nearly $1,000 in debt because she sent her kids off to 2 Ivy League schools, so to speak. And the ex-husband said, I want nothing to do with this. Because the ex-husband knew these schools were too expensive. The mother calls crying into the Dave Ramsey show, all right? And says, I can't afford this tuition. She had run up $400,000. One son was making, I think they were each making $80,000 a year. I think the call was like maybe 2-3 years old or something like that. So Holly is the caller that we're listening to right now in Albany, New York. Holly's saying, basically, from what I gather, the wicked ex-wife of her husband will not pay for private school. Well, she may not be able to afford it. The divorce may have been too much for her to afford paying for private school. And she had to say, to keep a roof over my head, to give my child a roof to come to when they visit, I can't afford this. I'm going to back this up just a hair. Excuse me. I'm going to back this up just a hair. Hopefully my mute worked and you didn't hear me cough. If you did, I apologize. All right, hold on.
I wouldn't have that monthly payment, but it is something that's really important to us. So he has that payment for his daughter, and because her mother refuses to pay for school.
See, again, I just got an issue with that. It makes the mom of the daughter sound like she's a wicked, horrible person. Guess what? I would refuse to pay for it too. And then someone could say, well, because Carrie refuses to pay for the school. Guess what? Public school. You got teachers like me. It ain't so bad. So Holly, if you see this, get off the soapbox of, making the mother sound like, she's just the wicked witch, because she's not. And from what I can gather, Miss Holly, you broke. All right. So if the child's mother is not broke, you may want to go to her and say, how are you keeping your head above water? The first thing she may say is ditch private school. See, I got this pet peeve when one person, it doesn't even have to be a parent, okay, but we'll just use parent since that's the situation here. When one parent makes another parent sound like they're irresponsible, when in reality, that's not the case. So Holly's doing the, oh, I'm broke AF, okay, but, and we're paying for this child's education because this other mother is so wicked and mean, she won't pay for it. Holly may deserve to be right in the position she's in. Like I said, family, it's too early for me to give tea pity party.
So we've taken that on.
Oh, you've taken that on. Yes, you have. Along with the minus $600 in the hole in the credit card, minus the $1,300 in overdrafts, and we don't even know what other bills are outstanding. See, you can't sound like the hero in the cape when your cape is full of holes and you're falling faster than gravity. Holly's trying to make herself sound like she's the hero.
So he has
So
a
he
child
kind
from
of
a previous
tapped out.
marriage. And then is the other child both of yours? Or was it one?
The other child is just mine.
Okay, from a previous marriage. Okay.
How long have you?
I apologize for interrupting, Dave. You know what it sounds like? I think they need to split up. I think they need to each go their own way. Holly's going to play victim. I can tell you this already. And I'm trying to use the kinder, more compassionate side of me, and I can't find it yet.
Y'all been married?
Yes. Since November.
Okay.
All this crapola has occurred since November. I was thinking, oh, we've been married 10 years, and this is all since November. Now, we all know I'm bad at math and I have to use my fingers to count. So we're just going to have to deal with that. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. We ain't even been married a year. You've been married barely 8 months. And that's if I give you November off. You've been married 8 months, and in 8 months, this is the financial picture of your marriage. This marriage is over. Holly sounds like the type of gal. Okay, I'm going to try to use my softer. See, if the evening chat were here, I would be trying to use my softer voice, okay? Here's the thing. Holly right now strikes me as someone who tries to play victim. See, she's victim to this overdraft, so she wants the credit union to reverse it. She's victim to the ex-wife of the guy that she married, because that wife is smart enough clearly to say she can't afford private school. Now, Holly, most likely, I'm telling you, this ain't gonna last. The marriage is in where was the honeymoon period? You didn't even have a honeymoon period, lady. Okay. And now when this relationship breaks up, because we all know it's going to. All right. She's going to be a victim to her husband. But there's one thing that Holly will never allow. She will never allow herself to take responsibility. I can see this already. 8 months. And this is the financial picture and the emotional picture in the marriage.
All right. Okay, you have several. The overdrafts are not the problem, they're the symptom.
Exactly. The problem is she and her husband married each other and clearly never discussed how money should work. And in this short phone call, I'm not even sure they actually love each other.
Mhm.
And so what we're hearing is there are several problems that when you solve those problems, the overdraft will go away.
And what is one way to solve that problem, family? What is one way to solve that problem? Probably have to split up. When your marriage is in the tank like this after 8 months. Oh, and remember, people. Part of that was the blessed holiday season, where things are supposed to go well. Like I said, there was no honeymoon period in this. Makes me wonder if it was a rushed marriage.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Problem number one is just disorganization because no one intentionally runs their checking account into the red.
Oh, we intentionally do it. We're just in denial that we just tell ourselves it's not a big deal. No. One or two checks in the red. Yeah. $1,300 worth of checks in the red. That's a different story. There's intentionality there.
You might have if you were like buying groceries or something like that because you didn't have the money to eat otherwise. But most people, it's just disorganization. If you laid out a game plan, your game plan would not be, I'm going to intentionally create $1,300 in overdraft fees. That would not be your game plan. I don't think you did that. You're too intelligent to do that on purpose.
No, she ain't.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's kind of what happened as a part of the chaos and the disorganization and coming up short because your portion of the responsibility here is larger than your income. You're coming up short. Yeah. Okay. Problem number two is you all are running your relationship and your household horribly. And that would be that the two of you need to sit down together. You probably need some good marriage counseling.
Yeah, it's always you need. Hold on. It's always something like what you two need to do is you need to just sit down together. Oh yes. I'm convinced, family, some problems are better solved when you don't actually sit down together because you realize you actually have nothing to discuss. The fact that this all happened in 8 months, okay, of them being married, the fact that at least the way she's talking, he sounds incredibly disconnected. I'm just going to give you money whenever I can. The way she sounds, she's going to be victim to everything. I could just see this woman in a counseling appointment. Oh my God. So can you tell me, Miss Holly in Albany, New York? Wait, hold on. It would go something like this.
Miss Holly, can you please tell me what the problem is in your relationship?
And she's going to come up with something like,
I blame everybody for all my problems.
part of me thinks that perhaps each of them got married for convenience. Okay. That they were each tight on money. I really thought to hear that they'd be married for at least a few years. And this, it kind of built into this. Nah. This relationship, it appears it's emotionally over. My experience, and I could be absolutely wrong, when the emotion is gone, the relationship's gone. And if he's making money and he's supposed to give it to her, I guess she makes more, but that I'm indifferent to who makes more. I couldn't care less who makes more. Okay. But he's supposed to be giving her money and she's saying he's just kind of giving it to her when he feels like it because he had to have a truck. This isn't a relationship. This is a roommate situation. Roommates might do that. Bad roommates.
Counseling. Because you need to sit down together and say, all right, we just got married and the preacher said, and now you are one. And you're not acting like it. You're acting like two.
I'm thinking the smartest person might be his ex-wife. Just saying.
You're acting like roommates that both have a kid.
Because they're really not interested in each other.
Right.
And it's killing you. It's causing you to be afraid. It's breaking your heart. You feel disrespected.
Not safe.
Am I saying things that are untrue?
No, you're spot on.
But why are we assuming that he's the guilty one? It's always the caller that, well, I won't say always. Nothing's ever, never, always, or forever. Okay. But how do we know that she's not doing the disrespecting? We're only getting her side of the story. So with only her side of the story, right, it's easy for us to say, well, she's being disrespectful. She's being disrespected. How about if we talk to him? If we talk to him, what would he have to say about her? See?
Okay. All right. And
she wants a pity party. That's what she wants. So far, she's getting it. Not from me or Squirrel.
He's probably wounded and hurt from his last relationship and is still carrying some of that and then projecting that onto the new relationship, I'm guessing.
What about her? Maybe she's wounded and hurt, and maybe she's become a nag that he never knew he was marrying. Maybe she's just become the biggest nag. Who knows? Honestly, I think they'd be better off each just splitting and take care of their own kids and going their own ways. If it's not too late to have the marriage annulled, I would. I'm only saying it because this is a lot of crap in 8 months to come down. And I don't hear a tone of, oh, we are deeply in love and, we've sat down and we really want to talk this out, yada, yada. That's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing an indifference that he has towards her, and I'm willing to bet that she probably has towards him. This is probably one of those second marriages that should have never happened.
That'd be kind of normal to do that, by the way. It wouldn't mean he's a bad guy. It just means it's like, well, last time I got burned when she was acting like this. I'm not doing that again.
We are speculating. We are jumping to conclusions. Of course, I probably do some of that myself. But in this case, we're assuming that she is pure light and innocence. He's the guilty one. That's what we're assuming. We got no proof. I would have to talk to the husband or the husband roommate to find out his side of the story. This is a tough one to diagnose without his side of the story.
Right. I'll just keep everything over here and I'll take my part and you take your part and we'll see how it works out. That's generally that's the voice of hurt. That's the voice of a wound.
Or the voice of two people who really married each other for financial convenience.
Okay. So I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but he is really mistreating his current wife.
I respectfully disagree, Mr. Ramsey, as much as I love to do commentary on your shows. We have no proof that he's mistreating. What we have is we have a wife here. Yeah, she makes more money, but that's, like I said, that I'm indifferent to that. I couldn't care less if I made more. Don't care. So let's put that aside. We are jumping to tell the caller who is crying on the phone that everything that has been done to her has been an injustice, yet we have no proof beyond her words. What would happen if it turned out, let's just throw this out there. She is a nag. She's a spendaholic. And she absolutely thinks of no one else first but herself. Let's say the husband called in and said, you know what, I've got this wife. She doesn't know how to, run a budget. I refuse. We've only been married 8 months, but I can already see that we don't match in the way we think of finances. She looks at me as just this, leech person, yada, yada. In other words, this is really hard to say that she is the innocent one. And like I said, all my love and respect to the show, but we can't fall into the trap of the crying woman saying that everybody is against her. We can't fall into that. At least I won't.
So, if I were your older brother, I would tell you to sit down tonight and turn off the TV and put the kids to bed and say, hey, dude, this is not working.
And it may be a conversation that he would love to have. And maybe it's a conversation he's tried to have and she won't listen. So he finally goes, you know what? I'm going to just back out of this relationship as much as I possibly can. I'm going to get myself a car. I'm going to pay for my stuff. Because remember earlier, that's what they were kind of saying. He pays for his stuff. You know, he's already out.
Turn the lights on. As John Deloney says, turn the lights on in the room. Because we're all kind of walking around in a fog acting like this might work out. It ain't going to work out. Turn the lights on and go, this is not working. We either made a huge mistake or we got some work to do to get on the same page, because I'm not going to live where you treat me like your servant.
Once again, we are blaming the guy who is not here to defend himself. Oh, what was it? One of the, what was it? One of my subscribers said, I can't. We were putting them on trial. I think that was Jeremy. Jeremy, if it was you, great. If it's not, I apologize to the person. I think it was Jeremy who said we're basically putting these people on trial. That's exactly what we're doing. We've hung out the husband to dry without even knowing exactly what he's done yet, except the words of a crying woman.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right?
Well, you look who you're asking. You're asking, I mean, does it sound right? Well, if it matches what she wants, it always sounds right. If you ask the ex, if not, well, we all know he's eventually going to be the ex-husband. If you ask the to-be ex-husband, does it sound right? I can pretty much guarantee you he's going to have a different story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Holly, from just a tactical sense, I'm curious, if you combined both of your incomes and you guys really worked out of one account, you paid household bills together out of that account, would you be behind on the mortgage right now?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because I feel like I would have a better handle on what each of us are kind of.
Yeah.
I want
there's a
both
level
of
of-
you to have a full handle on it.
Yep. And
That's why I forgot they're behind the mortgage too. Oh, geez.
so much, Holly, of money
Mhm.
and the way we use money, the way we view money, the way our dreams are around money and our fears, all of that is so wrapped up into who we are. And when you keep that part of you from your spouse, which is what he's doing, there's such a lack of transparency that's going on.
Like I said, maybe he's tried to talk to her. And all she does is break down and cry instead of helping solve the situation. And he's tired. You know, I could be wrong. Okay. I could be totally wrong in my analysis. But it's wrong for women and women. We can do this. Not all, but women can do this. Okay. Men can actually try to talk to us about something, but we just kind of dismiss it and brush it off. And then they try to talk to us again. We dismiss it and brush it off. You know, it becomes this little back and forth game. And then finally the guy goes, forget it, whatever. And then we claim, oh my God, they never talked to us about it.
And, you know, on a really extreme, terrible side, you know, we see people with addiction that they hide stuff from their spouse, another life. I mean, like stuff just happens.
Who ran up the accounts? That's what I would really like to know. We don't have a clear picture, at least I sure don't, on how this money got run up. Okay, she said they had $1,300 in overdraft fees. There's $600 in the hole, clearly because of the overdraft fees, okay? And they're behind in their mortgage. But we really don't have a clarity, at least I don't, on how these overdrafts got run up. Who did it? What were we trying to pay for?
When money is hidden in the dark on an extreme side. And on the other side, I pray that it is what kind of Dave said earlier. He's just like, I just don't want to get burned. And I've been through a divorce. So this and this, you know.
Well, if you've been married
if
8
it's-
years, I might be suspecting him of a lot more. You've been married 8 months.
Yeah.
Well, see, and like I said, that's the concern. This is only 8 months. The marriage is over.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to
But
give
the-
I'm trying to give him the benefit of a
Yeah,
doubt.
that's fair. That's fair. But the lack of transparency too is one of the reasons we talk about the level of unity,
It's horrible.
because it's just everything's there and you're working together. And
Dear John, I think we made a very big mistake getting married to each other 8 months ago. because it is apparent we do not view money the same way. We should have probably discussed this before we got married, and we failed to do so. Please meet me tonight for dinner in a public restaurant at 6 p.m.
And you're a team, and you're not being held like this. I mean, Holly, when you said I'm behind
You're not
on
behind.
my words, you're not behind. You guys,
We are behind.
yes, and that amount of
And how do we know that she doesn't view the marriage as herself first? In other words, you got two people that each have kids. Not that that matters. Okay, this could occur with or without children. All right, but in this particular case, you got two people that each have children. How do we know that each one isn't selfishly putting their kids first, even over the other person's kid? See, we just don't know the dynamics of this.
weight that
We
is
are
on
about
you.
to lose our house
Yes.
because you are
Mhm.
standing over there in the dark, handing out money like I'm your child, giving me an allowance. That ends tonight, Bubba.
And he says, great, I've been waiting for that. We're out. Now is she going to cry that her husband walked out? I do not fully trust what Holly is saying. I believe parts of the story that we are hearing, but I don't believe all of it.
Mhm.
Okay. That's how the conversation goes in Tennessee.
Mhm.
You know, so you can, in Albany, New York, you might be nicer than that.
All right, folks, I think we got the gist of it.